ended up suffering serious burns because of the hot sugar. In a cruel irony, making the cookie was more dangerous than the game itself. Fish Game is a Roblox experience inspired by Squid Game, designed to recreate the intense survival challenges from the show. Of course, the most popular recreation was the iconic red light, green light game from the first episode. As soon as the game was released, Fish Game became one of the most played Roblox experiences, with thousands of players all competing to try and make it through the games without dying. But parents were not happy with it. Roblox is a game designed for young children, and in their eyes, playing a game based on such a violent, unrelenting show is completely wrong, and in many ways unethical. They were concerned that youths would somehow replicate the violence they saw in the show or the game in real life, creating their own elaborate Squid Game to play because of how simple and fun it was on Roblox. But the game's creators never cared about that risk. They just focused on avoiding lawsuits from Netflix. They've worked to distance themselves from direct association with Squid Game, using alternative names like Fish Game or Hexagame. As for the youths playing it, they firmly believe it's all on the parents. Squid Game inspired by an anime. Even though Squid Game is a massively successful franchise all on its own, it actually draws quite a significant inspiration from the anime Gakkyou Burai Kaiji Ultimate Survivor, commonly known as Kaiji. Both stories center on debt-ridden individuals forced into high-stakes games where their lives hang in the balance. In many ways, they're actually exactly the same story. At their core, both stories explore themes of desperation, greed, and exploitation in modern society. Both Kaiji and Squid Game's protagonist, Seong Gi-hun, are down on their luck gamblers trapped in a brutal, unrelenting cycle of poverty and debt. Through sheer luck, they're lured into deadly games by the promise of financial salvation, a reflection of the extreme measures some are willing to take when pushed to the brink by an unforgiving capitalist system. Of course, the games they end up playing are not simple. They're actually metaphors for the brutality of modern society. In both works, childhood games are twisted into terrifying life-or-death scenarios, contrasting the innocence of youth with the harsh and sometimes fatal realities of adulthood. The whole time, they're being watched by wealthy spectators betting on the contestants' lives. To them, the suffering of the poor is nothing more than a game, a work of entertainment. Of course, Squid Game reimagines the elements in a more globally resonant way than Kaiji did. While Kaiji focuses more on complex gambling scenarios, Squid Game simplifies the games, making them more accessible and relatable to a wider audience. That simplification, coupled with the show's striking childlike visuals and intense emotional drama, allows Squid Game to deliver its social commentary in a more visceral and impactful way than Kaiji could. But Squid Game also goes further in a more brutal and unforgiving way. It expands on the themes to be far more specific when criticizing society and global inequality.